Hi, in this tutorial we are going to study about cosequential processing. Let's take a look at the input and output files first, and then I'll tell you what is cosequential processing. Here I have two input files and one output file. As you can see here, both the input files contain few names. The first input file contains 3 names and the second input file contains 5 names. And if you can observe, these names are in alphabetical order in both the files. And what output file contains is the names common to both these input files. As you can see, Abhishek is a name common to record 1 and record 2 file, and so is Manish. In cosequential processing, we are extracting the common names from two input files provided that they have names in alphabetical order. Let's understand the logic behind cosequential processing with the help of few diagrams. I have 3 diagrams to explain you. This is the first, this is the second, and this is the third. Let's go through them one by one. In the first diagram, as you can see, there are 3 names in the first file, file 1, and 5 names in the second file, file 2. Initially, read first names from both the files. That is, I will read Abhishek from the first file and Manish from the second file. Now, there are only two possibilities. Either the names are equal or they are not equal. If the names are equal, then write it to the output file and read the next names from both the files. If the names are not equal, that is, they are not same, then read the next name only from the file which corresponds to the lesser name. For example, in this case, I read Abhishek from the first file and Manish from the second file. They are not equal and the lesser name is Abhishek. So I read next name from file 1. So my next image will be like this. I am reading Manish for the next time. Then I compare these two names. Are they equal? Yes, they are equal. So I am gonna write them to the output file. But I will write only one copy of it. There it is. I have written Manish to the output file and I have read next names from both the files. The next step will be comparing Satish and Omkar. The lesser one is Satish, so I'll read the next name from first file, and here the first file ends. That means my tracing is done and there can be no more common names. Manish is the only common name. I have to continue this process until end of at least one file is encountered. That's all about the logic. We finally come to the program now. Here we have to implement whatever we have learned. I have two file descriptors of IF stream and one file descriptor for OF stream. fin1 and fin2 point to the two input files and fout points to the output file. I have two arrays called as name and name2 into which I read data from the two files. In this part of the code, I open the first file record1.txt and I ask the user to enter the n names into the file. Then I close the file. I do the same thing with the second file. I ask the user to enter n names and then I close that file as well. Please note that I had opened these two files record1.txt and record2.txt in output mode, and then I wrote certain names into each of these files. These names should be in ascending order. After closing both the files, I open both the files again, but this time in input mode. I use fin1.open and fin2.open, where fin1 and fin2 are iStream objects, and I open the output file in output mode using fout.open, where fout is the OF stream object. Now my first step is to read the first names from the two files, and this is my iteration loop. For this loop to terminate, at least one of the files should end. I check for the first condition. If the name matches, then I output the name in the output file and read the next name from both the files. If the name from file 1 is less, then I will read the next name from file 1. Otherwise, I will read the next name from file 2. That's it. I will close all the 3 files and the program is over. Thanks for watching.
Oh,